Everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Court, the special ABF monthly episode where we get Mark Motter from the Appleton Beer Factory in to talk about all that is happening at the Appleton Beer Factory. Mark, it's so great to have you back for the second time in a row. How are you doing?
I can't believe it's been a month. It seems like it was last week, honestly. It's just been a lot of busyness going on. Everything's been great, just keeping busy at the brewery, and we're into our heavy time, early November through early December is probably the heaviest time of shows for us. We're doing 3 to 4 shows a week. And on top of that, I'm normally going to see other shows on top of that. So it just tends to get very time consuming. But yeah, no, we've had some great shows. Excited to be back and talk to you, Andy. And always a great time here.
How do you plan on going to other shows? Because obviously you want to be at the Beer Factory for, I'm guessing, a bulk of what's going on. How do you even want to see a lot of other stuff when you're not?
Well, yeah, I do. I honestly, I think it was the last 11 days. I think we had, what was it, 7 shows in that amount, or 7 or 8 shows, and I think it was 7 shows in 10 days, and I went to 2 more shows on top of that. So, but no, it's especially when it's a band I want to see. Like I have a big thing about not liking to put a band on the stage if I haven't got an opportunity to see them. Otherwise, if it's a band, one of the big ones I went to this past week that wasn't by us was a great show at Poplar with Molly Tuttle, who was just recently nominated for her 2nd Grammy, I believe. Actually, she was nominated for 2. But the mid person, Joshua Ray Walker, if you're familiar, who's been to Mile of Music, we had him back in 2022, right after he played the Grand Ole Opry for the first time, and that was ultimately, I like to go just say hi and get a chance to see him. We're working on something, can't really talk too much about that, but it'll be coming up here in the spring, so I want to talk to him about that as well. So
you kind of did a little teaser there on us.
Yeah, that's, me, I like to do that. But I think everything will be coming out here in the next couple. Very honestly, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. But we will be having something with Joshua at this rate. It'll just you just have to wait and find out when. But it'll be in 2026 at some time.
Okay, well, that's a ways out yet.
Yes.
So recently, well, let's talk. We didn't talk about this last time. You do trivia. Yes. Quite often at the Beer Factory.
Yeah, so we call it Music to Our Beers Trivia. It's not music trivia by any means, but we give out tickets to every show that's coming up that weekend. We'll give away, if there's 3 shows, we'll give away 3 sets of 2. If there's, 1 show, we'll give away a minimum of 2 sets of 2 is what we give away every week. So it's a great way to come win some free tickets to shows. We are flirting with a couple of different options as we move ahead forward on that, but it's been a fun time for us. It's a great way, like I said, to get some tickets to some shows. If you're a big music fan, plus you win gift certificates and all that kind of stuff when you come too. So
how does a trivia work?
So it's just, we actually do it with America's Pub Trivia. So if you've ever been to any of the America's Pub Trivia, there's different rounds. You can have groups of. They don't really put a number on it during the week, but like for their playoffs and stuff, you can have no more than 6 people.
You get like a little digital console thing?
You get, what you do, no, it's you're answering it all on your phone, and then you get a sheet that they send out as well. So it's pretty easy. We've been doing it with these guys for, it's got to be over 2 years now, and it's gone really well. And we continue, at this point, we plan on continuing it, but, like anything else, we're always looking to, if something's not as popular as what it used to be, always potentially change it down the road. So, but we have had a great time working with the America's Pub Quiz. We get quite a few of their playoffs now. They do playoffs multiple times a year, which they pretty much fill our whole restaurant for a few hours for that. So.
Yes, that's called Music to My Beers Trivia.
Every Wednesday.
By America's Pub Quiz. Yep, Wednesdays 7 to 9.
Yeah, 7 to 9 starts at 7. It's done really quickly right away at 9. They keep on track pretty nicely for that.
And that, as far as what they're asking, that's trivia across the board. It can be anything, not just music trivia.
It's general trivia. It's definitely, I would say I've played harder trivias, and I've played trivias. It's I think it's a good amount of difficulty for the average person coming in. It's not too easy for sure. So,
well, let's talk about the parade next week. I know you said that things are going to be a little different when people are picking up their packets this year.
Yeah. So for the parade, we have the Santa Scamper comes up on Parade Day. We've changed that a little bit. So if you're part of the Santa Scamper, we'll be doing all the packets will be given away in the upper event pub room. You'll be able to come in, go upstairs, come down and pay, or come down and the stairs and either head into the brewery to grab something to eat and drink or head back out. We are doing it a little bit differently. It's very important. We don't like to, move people out of our joint at any point, but on the same token, we last year we were running into a period where there were a lot of customers that were trying to pay and get food and were leaving. So we obviously, we're a business, so we want to be able to have people paying for food and whatnot. So as long as you're there, paying and maybe buying a drink here or something like that, we're not going to have any issues. But it's the biggest thing is trying to make sure we have room for all the people that want to come in, because of us being right at the start of the parade, we get a lot of people before and after. So
that's one of those events that can get pretty crazy. I know last weekend they did the Christmas lights thing downtown, and I think that was way bigger than they were anticipating down by Houdini Plaza. I don't know if you got down there for that.
Well, that was Saturday, correct, if I'm not mistaken. So I said that was the first time for an event like that we saw the impact as far down the avenue, because they've done that event multiple times. And while we might get a little bit of people here and there, we saw a ton of people from that event, and it was great to see, because we don't normally get that from those types of events. But this one will be way big. So what'll happen on Tuesday is pretty much 4:30, 5 o'clock. We'll be hammered until about 2 or 7 o'clock, I think is when this parade starts.
Sounds right.
If I'm not mistaken. But once that time hits, most of that clears out, and we get we're pretty tame for during the event itself. So, but we open as early as 12 o'clock just to get people signed up for the Santa Scamper too. So if people come in, and even though we're not necessarily open at that time, people want to come in, pick up their stuff, and stop and have a beer. We do, we'll grab them a beer or something. We just don't have the kitchen open until 4 o'clock. So,
how does something like that compare to things like Oktoberfest as far as busyness?
It's funny. We were just talking about that where I was at. So Oktoberfest, I think people are under the impression that does more for our business than what it really does. Mile of Music obviously is an enormous thing. But I mean, we do double the amount of revenue in one day at Mile than what we do for Oktoberfest. I like Oktoberfest as someone who's been living in this area for most of my life. It's obviously such a great, it's been such an impactful event. But I mean, as far as the local businesses go, unless you have a street vend or something like that, you don't see as much of that as what people think, because they don't want you going out of the buildings with drinks and whatnot. And we try and help them out with that. Obviously, with as many people as are down there at that time, it does come a little bit harder. But one of the things that it's funny that you say that, because one of the things I actually was talking to someone today, it was about us potentially doing a band during Oktoberfest next year to try and keep people in the venue a little bit more. So we're always interested to try stuff like that. But as far as Oktoberfest to the parade, I would say that those 2 hours before is probably more busy for us than what we see for most of the day for Oktoberfest for those 2 hours. But after that, like I said, it kind of jumps down a little bit, and we'll see some business up until about 9 o'clock. It'll be decent, but it's not going to be crazy busy.
Yeah, it surprises me about Oktoberfest that I, like all the other people you talked to, I guess, thought that would be a busy time.
Well, and it is, and again, we have a busy day, and I don't want to say that we don't have a busy day. It's just not nearly as impressive as what you would expect coming from the outside looking in. I know the first Oktoberfest I was there for, I was very underwhelmed by the amount. So we actually normally will do shows after Oktoberfest is done now. We didn't do one this year. We just didn't have anything, anyone that was looking. And I don't like to try and create a show on that day because it's a 50-50 of if it's going to work or not. The ones that we've done the last 2 years, we had Just Ray and the Carolina Catfish one year, and then we had this past year, we had not just this October, but the previous October, we had Before Dawn's record release party, and that was that went well too. So we like to try and do it. We really start the music. We don't start it right away after Oktoberfest. We wait and start it at like 9 or maybe 8 to give your average crowd that's not going to necessarily be looking to pay to get into a door for a show. Like we're trying to, get those people that are going to do that. And a lot of times they don't want to come down when there's 100,000 people downtown. So kind of spacing out a little bit works out nicely.
We had a comment from last month. Somebody said Jeremy Albino at ABF again would be a dream come true.
I have worked on that, and I'm definitely going to continue. If you were at the Jeremy Albino show when he was at ABF, which would have been 2 miles ago, not this past summer, the summer before, one of my favorite shows that I've ever had with an artist. Was a big fan and was working on a show with him coming to the brewery before he ever came to Mile. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and he's a very hot commodity now, so it's just hard to pin him down more than anything. I know that his agent's definitely interested in bringing him back. It's just finding the right timing. And he also is coming from Canada, so his visas are limited when he's coming through. So a lot of times you just got to hit it at the right time.
What's the hardest part about trying to get somebody like Jeremy booked? Is it scheduling or is it price?
It's honestly, the price thing isn't an issue unless they're going to a bigger venue size, right? So I was recently working on trying to get Wells back, Jesse Wells, and they had just made the bounce to 1,200 person spaces, so they wouldn't do anything smaller than that. When they make that decision, it's really hard to get them, even for a higher ticket dollar or anything like that, to come away from that, because exponentially you can make so much more money with 1,200 versus 300 tickets. So we do try and coax them a little bit by saying, hey, we can do better ticket prices, stuff like that. But, that just doesn't work nearly as much as you would think. But I know Jeremy had a great time when he was here. I got an opportunity to exchange a few words with him last time he was here, and love to get him again. And but sometimes they just also get going and get big too quick that you miss your opportunity, and then it's tough.
There was some stuff that happened last week with Todd Snider. I know that hit home for you. You want to talk about that a little bit? Yeah,
Todd Snider, Todd Snider has made an enormous impact on me as an individual. And I know anyone who's met Todd or has listened to Todd, I feel like has that connection with him. I know a lot of people, it's crazy because you and I were talking, and you're not the only person that's involved in music that I've talked to that wasn't really familiar with who Todd is. And that's he's the weirdest artist I've ever seen that way, honestly. Like the amount of outpouring from whether it's a mag or an online magazine or different artists or supporting Todd or not supporting Todd, but talking about how much of an impact Todd was. It shows like what his influence actually was. I saw Todd, it was either 15 or 16 times in concert, and as someone who doesn't put on a flashy show, I can tell you that 3 of his shows that I was at are in my top 10 of all time. And it's not because they're flashy, it's because he just does such a great job connecting with the public, and he's very real. He's one of the truest speaking artists that I think, I've listened to, and he just tells it how it is. And great guy, and he's one of those guys who knows himself and went through a lot of hardships like a lot of us do. And I think that's also something that connects people to him a lot, because he's always been very open about stuff that he's gone through and that he's, went to rehab quite a few times. He's just a very real and honest person. And I think that's what connects him a lot to people. But I know it was hard. Like Saturday when I found out the news, I started getting rumblings around 6 in the morning, and luckily have a couple of connections that can give me some information. And without trying to bother him too much, I just was like, hey, is this true? Because I don't want it getting out there, because it was starting to get out on Facebook already. And I said, I just want to make sure if it's not true, that's, you guys are all aware of this. And I was told that it was true. And yeah, it was a sad day for sure. And it all happened so fast. Like, I think there's still a lot of details to figure out about what exactly happened in Utah. I'm not a conspiracy nut, so I'm not going to get into any of that. But I do think there was some definite situations that that happened about a week and a half ago, and that from that, Todd's never been an overly healthy guy, and I think he got that walking pneumonia, and then people thought it was just walking pneumonia, and overnight we lost him within like 10 hours of finding that out. So, but yeah, definitely impactful. I was talking a little bit with you earlier, but you had artists like Billy Strings, Trey Anastasio. I mean, big wigs in the business coming out and talking about Todd's input and how he affected them as a musician. And those are, and that's a pretty big list of artists. For those who don't know, like John Prine and Todd were best friends. If I knew a lot of people, actually, it was funny in talking to a lot of people over the weekend that were at the PAC show with John Prine when Todd Snider opened, and they didn't realize Todd Snider opened the show. So a lot of them had already seen Todd Snider, which was kind of funny. But Todd is a very unassuming guy, or was a very unassuming guy, and yeah. And if you haven't listened to him, sit down, put on one of his CDs, or listen to one of his house shows. And
is there a specific song you would suggest?
Oh man, a lot. Conservative Christians is one of my favorite. Because he's got a little bit of a punk style to him, in that he definitely takes on social issues. All Right Guy is one that I love that he does. He's the stories, I think, though, are my favorite. I think that's where you just really get to connect him when he talks about all these just anecdotes, and some of them are just really good. But I mean, All Right Guy is one that I listened to. It was one of the first ones I listened to. I was looking for a job before I found this one. Is always one that connects with me a lot, because it's talking about how he kind of like fell into what he's doing now. And that's kind of how I feel sometimes about what I'm doing now, is while I had a good background for it, I wasn't expecting it to get to where it is now. So, but yeah, I would check it out. And one of the things I will say is, if you are a big Todd Snider fan, like I am, when I get sad, what I do is I dive into my work. So my first thing, when I found that out Saturday morning after I did a little bit of grieving in my own way, was starting to talk to people, because I could see the amount of hurt that was happening in friends of mine, whether it was musicians or regular people, or whatever. So I started to reach out to some different artists, and we are working on a memorial for Todd Snider, which we will get you the date. I have a meeting coming up on Thursday, so I'm hoping to at least start getting a date out there sometime after that. We won't be waiting too late, but we also aren't going to do it like next week or anything. I'm working on a pretty cool show that I think we're going to have a lot of local artists, some artists coming from out of the area, that will each be singing Todd Snider songs, and maybe doing a little anecdote about what Todd meant to them, because talking during the in-between songs is kind of what Todd does. And I want everyone to, and it was great. I said, this is one of those things that, like, the overpouring of support and the amount of artists that reached out and said they wanted to be a part of it. I mean, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get all the artists involved, but I hope everyone at least comes to the show, because what we'll be doing, we'll be working, that show is going to be a ticketed show. The only reason we're ticketing it is because I had reached out to a friend of mine who works closely with Todd and found out a charity that would work for that. We're going to be giving 100% of the ticket sales to Backline, which was created when after Jeff Austin passed away. It is all about helping musicians with mental health support, and ensuring that they have the tools that they need to be able to deal with that, because as a lot of us are aware, a lot of them don't have insurance and whatnot. So this was a great thing that's going to help artists that I think Todd knowing his struggles with this kind of stuff would be really supportive of. We're working on some cool things. We'll probably open up the amount of people that can come in for that show, because it's not going to be like a regular show, and we want as many people to be able to be a part of it as possible. Hoping to maybe do a couple of silent auctions or something like that we can do to again help raise money for that. And then what we'll do for the artists is just do a passing of the hat, and then whatever money comes through that we'll dole out to the artists. We'll be taking certain costs down from Appleton Beer Factory, Appleton Music Factory standpoint, just to ensure that the artists get their food, they get drinks, they get taken care of, and then obviously we'll give a percentage of the sales that day to Backline as well. So,
well, it sounds pretty cool, and I think it's going to be a nice tribute to Todd Snider for sure.
Yeah. I'm working on recreating my favorite show that I ever saw with Todd, and I don't know if we'll be able to do it, exactly song for song, but I'm working on making that happen. But it's going to be special, and it's very special to me. So I know you know I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into it to make it special for everyone. So,
well, there's a fun show recently, Message Ups and Zebra Muscle. What did you think of Zebra Muscle? That was your first time seeing those guys.
I was super impressed, and I got an opportunity to talk to Frank Anderson a bit and get to talk to the guys. Really excited to get them back in. Actually, something came out of that show, which I'm really excited about, that we're going to be looking at doing in the spring. So something that a lot of individuals have asked for is a metal/punk night. So we're actually gonna, because of that show and because of how much support we got for that show, we are going to be looking at doing, we're gonna call it Manic Mondays, twice a month. We're gonna be bringing 2 to 3 bands in. All the ticket sales will go directly back to the bands. We'll cover sound on our end, and we're going to work to try and get some of those louder, the surf rock, the metal, the punk shows.
Yeah, you had a good show with the Razor too.
Yeah, and that was against the Packer show, or the Packer game, I should say. We had, probably 50, 60 people in for that show, and that was free. If we're doing it with, as we're getting into it, we will put a small charge on it. I mean, I'm not thinking any more than $10 tickets, maybe 12 at the most, but it's all going to be 100% of that goes back to the artists when it comes to the sales itself. We'll cover sound on our end, and we won't open the restaurant on those days. We'll just open the bar, so we'll have it'll just be for drinks and a show. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of locals that have been wanting to get in for that kind of stuff. There's other events that we're going to be looking at starting up in spring too, but that's one that I'm really excited about, that I think if you were at any of the shows, that Monday show or the Message Ups or our last Code Zero show, we've got a lot of individuals that are seeking that type of music, that louder hitting music, and I think that this is a great way to do it. And we're just going to start it out as every other week and kind of see where it takes us. We got to be able to at least do a break-even thing. Otherwise, it's hard for me to continue doing it, but we'll we weather those waters as we do, and we're not just going to do one show and give it up. We'll definitely try it for through at least probably May once we start it up. So.
Well, if you missed the Message Up Zebra Muscle show, we're going to play a couple videos right now of that show, and we're going to come back and talk more about it, and we're going to go over what you have coming up at the Beer Factory. Really excited to have you here again, Mark.
Really excited to be here.
This is going to start off with Zebra Muscle playing Big Pontoon at the Appleton Beer Factory. You're listening to a special episode of Fox Cities Core ABF Monthly. And what a fun show that was.
I mean, it was great. Like they did a really good job. So that job for a first time band coming through that had never been through the area with an opener that had never played at our place before. I mean, granted, Zebra Muscles from the area, but they haven't played a ton of shows, I don't feel like, in the area, especially like in Appleton. And I thought that was great. I mean, it was almost 100 people by the time with walk-in on a Thursday night with two bands that had never played there before. So there's bands that come through on the regular that don't bring that many people through. So it was great. The guys from the band were great. It was kind of funny. I started talking to Matt, and he's Italian, so he kind of has like, hey, and I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. but yeah, it was great talking to him. And obviously, I talked a little bit last time about my connection to the Soviet Union, or Russia now. But so it was pretty cool to have that whole show was. And I mean, their music. From the get go, it's just awesome. So
Well, it drew a lot of people from out of town, and they it looked like the band Message Shops. They sold a lot of merch. I saw a lot of people walking around with photos and records and things.
well, and good for them for actually they got T-shirts just that day. But yeah, it's I think bands are surprised, especially by the Appleton area, whether they're first time through, whether they're coming through from Iowa, and just how much merchandise that they'll sell. I know I've tried to prepare bands multiple times that have been through by us but are coming through Mile for the first time, and I'm like, bring all the merchandise you can. But it's funny, I'm actually working on an idea with potentially with Mike Underwood from Cobb Magna and the Monsoons on a way that artists can deal with that I think is going to take off, and if we can do it well, I think it'll be pretty amazing. It's been an idea of mine for about the last 7-8 years, and I just never really was in the industry in portion of the industry to help out with it, but now I have a musician that's in it that's interested in the same thing I am. So
how many ideas do you typically have going on at one time?
I have a lot. So a lot of them I just check back into a basket that I put in my head for, this is a cool idea, but it's a later date, a lot of times too, it's finding the right partner, right? Some of these things, like when I come up with the idea, I just don't have the right person or the right business to partner with. And then all of a sudden something will come up and I'm like, oh, I got this idea. And that's exactly how it happened with Mike. We were talking, and after the Lowdown Brass Band and Kyle Langdon the Monsoon show on Friday, and we just started talking, and I don't even know how we got on the topic. I'm like, hey man, I've got this great idea. Tell me what you think about this. He's like, I think that's a really good idea. And I'm like, yeah. So sometimes it's just finding someone that's into the idea that wants to work with you on it. It would be something that, very honestly, it won't even be just for artists that come through by us. It would be something that I would want to put out there as a service for artists coming through the area. And I think, without giving away too much, you can probably have some idea what I'm talking about with everything. But I think it just helps the bands and what they're bringing and making sure they have enough and everything like that. So I think there's some cool stuff that'll come out of it. I just got to find some time to get to sit down with Mr. Underwood. And it's funny because there was 3 different meetings that came out of that night. So it's it's always, my head's always moving, and I always try, but there's always times too where an idea comes up, and like I said, I just put it in the back, or it changes in some way. And I had one recently that came up that did that. We just morphed it into something differently, and it'll turn up way different when it gets in front of the customer versus what it started as in my head. It just started as a nugget. So, but yeah.
Got some stuff coming up at the Appleton Beer Factory in the next month.
Yes.
You want to tell me what you've got coming up?
Just sold out over the weekend, Winya with Edge Hill. So you're hearing it here first. We are going to be opening up taproom tickets for that show. If you're not familiar, it gets you into the taproom. The tickets are going to be $10. I'm not telling you right now when we're releasing them, but you should check out our Facebook if you're interested. But they will be released in the next couple days, and they will be very limited. They are going to go very fast for this show. We don't have many shows that sell out like more than a couple days ahead of time. This one's, you're looking at almost a week ahead of time. So there's a bunch of people already looking for those tickets. We will sell about 50 of them pre-sold, and then what we do is day of, we might open up some more day of, depending on how the place fills up. So I don't ever like it to be too full that people that paid the full price for tickets feel like oh, I should have paid this much. But on the same token, we try and get the bands more money. And again, this money just goes right back to the bands. Like it's that's why we do it, and it gives us an opportunity to get those bands a little bit extra money. And a lot of times I don't want to go there. But anyways, it ultimately gets the bands more money, and they really enjoy that. So they like being able to make money. I mean, who doesn't? So.
And then so that's
coming up Friday. Then on Saturday, we're against the PAC show, which is the Christmas show, which is a great show. And I encourage anyone not going to that show to come to our show. I do encourage you. That's always a great show, and it's for 91.1. Always a great cause. I love those guys over there, and they give us a great, unique perspective into original music that we don't get on a lot of our radio stations in the area, especially for smaller artists. But then we have Katie Gian in the Drive and Bedford. Katie Gian in the Drive is always one of our favorites that has come through. We've had them through. This has to be like their fifth time or sixth time they've been through. Bedford is really an interesting group that I'm excited to see live. They're out of West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. 3-part rock band, and I was super impressed when I heard them. I convinced them to take this opening spot because I said, this is going to be an opportunity to get you in through Appleton, but I do expect them starting to move to a split bill very quickly, because if they're as good live as what they sound like, I'm going to be very excited to bring them back through as quick as possible. Always love having Katie Gian and Driving, not to take anything away from them, but Bedford's going to be great. Then getting into holiday weekend, Thanksgiving, the two big shows we were going to do, I don't know if we talked about this last week, we were going to do a show on Wednesday. We've canceled that show. So we had another issue. First, one of our bands canceled, then we switched to different bands. Now one of the bands wasn't able to again. So at this point, if we can't put a show on that I feel is a good product, we're going to pull it. And so this one we just pulled. We didn't have any tickets sold, so it was a great time to pull it because we had just announced it a couple days before. But so that one will be gone. But we do have two great shows going that weekend with Iftikhar and their holiday shows. The first one's with Heatbox. If you have not seen Heatbox, please get there. And then Hot Like Mars is the old it's all 41. No, that's not right. But they have 41 in their name is the old 41. I think it's all 41. But anyways, that's who Hot Like Mars is. They've been through, this will be their third or fourth time. Fantastic. And Iftikhar, those guys always do great. Then getting into December, we've got some amazing, we do not have a lot of shows in December, but the shows we have are pretty baller. So the first one is the 5th. That first weekend is a jam weekend. So 5th and 6th, I'm probably going to actually run a ticket. If you don't already have yours, that gives you both tickets for a reduced price just because they're such similar styles. The first one is a 3-band show. It's going to start out with Feed the Dog Duo, which could headline a show by themselves, which is Timmy Mack and John from Feed the Dog. Then we're going to have the Driveway Thrift Dwellers are going to be, if you haven't seen them, this band has been coming on really strong. They're going to be dropping their first record, so this is ultimately a record release for them. But what's different than a record release is they're not going to be the headline band, not the headline, I should say, the last band, because they're split billing with Joseph Huber. And if you haven't seen Joseph Huber, I don't know what you're waiting for. He's probably the best singer-songwriter, if not in the Midwest, at least in Wisconsin. One of my favorite artists out of Wisconsin. And then the next night is going to be People Brothers Bands, who we always have a great show with. And then they're having Salty Dog. And Salty Dog's out of Duluth. Those guys are great. Don't sleep on this show. That show's going to be a fantastic show. And then we get into the next weekend. We have one show during that weekend. Once we get into the second weekend, I'm really not looking to add shows unless we have something normally, because we are so busy that time of year that we have so many private events, and it's just busier because of what's going on. So I'm not, after it gets past that second week, I normally don't do too much with shows till New Year's Eve. So this will be one of your last shows of the year for us before New Year's Eve. Luke Schaefer and Carter Halsey. This is a Christmas duo show that's been going on at Crazy Todd's house for, I think it's the last 5 or 6 years now. They've normally done a second show at Stone Arch, which from my understanding, always sells out as well. So they jumped and asked us to do one. Steve Main, who's a friend of our biz, is actually doing a party in conjunction with us. So it was partially because of that too. But I'm excited to see this. Them doing their Christmas show. We are ticketing that to 200. So that's going to be quite a few less than our normal shows. There's going to be a lot more seating for that show available. Get your tickets fast because I would expect that to go quick because the house party's already sold out. We waited before we announced till the house party was sold out. But this should be a fun one. Girl in the Gun's going to open for that. That was literally just announced today. Love Kurt Gunn and Amanda. They're great. And then on the 15th, while I'm very, very sad, we haven't made this announcement official yet. The band, or Pearl, will not be part of this show anymore, which really makes my heart hurt because I was so excited to see Pearl. That being said, the band Feel is the reason you're coming to see that show to begin with. They will still be there. We're working. I'm working with their agents on who we're going to put as the opener. There's a couple opportunities that are out there that we're looking at. I'm hoping that announcement comes this week. But if you have not seen the band Feel, I don't care who they're opening with. Like, if you like Led Zeppelin and Greta Van Fleet, you definitely need to get tickets to this show. This is going to be your style show, and you're going to love it. These guys are great. That's going to be our Beatnik Betty's show of the month. So we're very excited to have them through, and that is pretty much what we have for the year. We do have our New Year's Eve show, which you'll see being announced. It's not an original music show, but it's... we had such a good time. We've done this band every year on New Year's Eve, and I think last year we finally found the good timing to make it happen. We're going to be doing an early show again with A-Town Unplugged, and we'll be closing shortly after the show so our team can go home. We don't like dealing with the 2 a.m. crowd on New Year's Eve. We would rather have everyone out and safe earlier than that. So we'll have a short night, but that show, get here early for that show. We are going to change how we do seating because last time we had way too much seating for the amount of people that we had. So we're expecting a great turnout there. I know they have such a fun time doing it, but that'll be with A-Town Unplugged on New Year's Eve.
So there's also, I was going to ask you, there's the Has Band.
Oh, yes.
Which, can you tell me a little bit about them? I mean, that's like a pretty big...
Yeah, and we don't have one in December, I believe. I think the next one's in January. Is that correct? Right.
Not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, we had one in November. It was their first one. Has Band is great. That's the Horton Area School District. They do like a big band thing or like a high school band type thing. Play a lot of tunes that you're going to know. It's an 18-piece band. It's free for the community. This is something that they came to me with about 3 years ago, and we've had fun doing it ever since. We're going to continue to do it as long as we can and as long as they are willing to do it. We do encourage people to come because if you haven't seen the show and you like that style, it's a great time. But again, that's another show. That's a free one. You got to get there early if you're looking to get a seat because the beer hall fills up fast. We actually normally have tables throughout the first floor of the restaurant for that show, not just in the beer hall.
So the band spills out off the stage, don't they?
Pretty much. Like, we have to put a row of chairs in front because there's 18 people. Now, granted, we could get that many people on the stage, but I think it's more because it's easier for them. We've had 35 people on the stage to just for, I don't know if, we're supposed to have that many, but we did.
Have you ever had anyone fall off the stage?
I mean, outside of me, no.
You've got to tell me about that, Mark. What happened with you?
No, I haven't. I almost fell off once because I almost just missed. I get so used to it, and we do have a couple different stage setups. So sometimes if I'm not looking, but yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think. No, we've had someone throw up on stage, but never. That was from Shuey. That was the only. And actually one of the guys who was in the show was by us the other night. I think it was for the Kyle Magna show it was Lodom Brass because one of the guys that was on that in the actual band, and he felt so bad. I'm like, we never had it. I said, don't feel bad. The guy's a celebrity. He's the only guy that's ever puked on our stage. So,
was it from drinking or from being sick?
It was because he ate our Reuben and just slammed it right before. Oh, it was great. So his girlfriend and one of the other guys in the band's girlfriend were there, and they were really nice and cleaned it all up. I said that was good because I have a super weak stomach, and there would have just been more puke on the stage if I had gone up there. But they're Yeah, no, that was a funny night. He felt so bad. I'm like, don't feel bad. You know what happens. It's not like he tried to puke on stage. I would have been more upset if he was like drinking and out of his mind, but that wasn't the case. So.
Well, so there's lots of stuff happening at the beer factory. People should come out, even on a day there's not a artist playing. Come out, get a beer. Any beer specials or food specials going on?
Oh yes, so we just started. Hospitality business right now is a little shaky, and it has been for most of the year. We've actually, sometimes when a lot of businesses are pulling back, we actually took a step forward. So we're actually going to just at 3:00 from Tuesday through Thursday, we started offering happy hours, which we actually have some great deals going on. So if you're one of those guys that gets out of work a little bit early, come by, have a drink. Like, we're going to try this through December. As long as we see a reason to continue doing it, we're going to. But I do always tell people, like, you got to come and support this stuff if you like the idea, and because that's the only way we're going to continue to do it is if we see that there's a value there. We've seen some great pickup already on it, and would love to continue to do that. But it's just a great way to, if you get there a little bit early, either get a really good deal on appetizer. Well, you can get a good deal on appetizer and beers. So we give you 50% off our pizzas and apps, and then buy one get one beers. So it's a great time to come. And but we also have our eclectic markets, and we're going to have a clothing share, which is really new, coming up in December. We are trying a couple of different things around that. We always like to keep things new, but as far as food special goes, that's the biggest food special we have right now. But here's the other thing that I always like saying. So we just got in the old-fashioned passport, which, if you're not familiar, buy one of those. It gives you it gets like a little passport, so you go to all the different places that have old fashions. It's done by Venture Wisconsin, and they do a great job with it. We are part of that. We're part of their beer one, and we're part of their downtown one, which were 3 different ones. But their old-fashioned one is great, and one of the things they tell you in there is exactly what I'm going to tell you. If you haven't tried our fish at Appleton Beer Factory, seriously, if you like freshwater fish, we do one style fish. It's haddock. I don't eat freshwater fish for the most part, and I love this. So please come and try it. It's not super expensive, and we give you a bunch of food, and it pairs fantastically with one of our on-draft old fashions. So
that's a great spot to end the show, because it's making me very hungry. Mark, you're going to be coming back on December 16th.
Yes.
So appreciate you coming by and letting us know what's happening at the Beer Factory, and so much to do there. If you haven't seen a show at the Appleton Beer Factory, go buy a ticket and check it out.
Absolutely. And, I just want to say on that show, I'm hoping to be able to drop some information about our season tickets, because that's right about the time that we'll probably open up sales on those. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, feel free to reach out to me at the brewery on any of our Facebook, any of our emails, or you can reach out to me. I'm Mark Steven on Facebook. I have no problem with people reaching out to me that way. But if you're interested in that, I think we're going to get close to selling out of them this season, which will be the first season we've done that. We're really close already. There is potential that we might open some more up as we go, but when we open more of those up, that will be reducing the amount of actual tickets we can sell. So this is a great thing. The season tickets are a fantastic value, and I'm not just saying that. If you talk to any one of our season ticket holders, they'll let you know how good of a value they are. So that's all I got. I don't want to take up too much time. Thanks, Andy, again, and you guys keep listening, and please tune in to Code Zero Radio, because I love them giving me an opportunity to talk without anyone shutting me off, which normally happens. So thank you, Andy.